Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I hope you learned something new this evening, and feel free to participate with your dog or not, whatever. um, and so tonight, I just have one dog with me, and I have Remy here. Remy, lap. Good girl. So this is Remy. She is a 2-year-old yellow Labrador, very sweet as you see. And so she's going to be our little demo dog tonight. I'm going to be asking a lot of her for training. I usually would never train as long as I'm going to be showing you guys tonight, but we'll just see if she'll hang in there with us. And feel free, like Lynn said, to ask questions along the way, and that will give Remy a little bit of a break, and I'll try to chat every now and then, because usually in dog training, you want to work, even seconds worth. Like sometimes I'll do a session that's one and done, where I'll just do one repetition and be done. And other times I'll do maybe a max of like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, just depending. Sometimes longer if I'm working on duration or something like that. So anyways, but I just wanted to put that out there, that it's not always great to train for however long we go tonight. So if Remy needs a little break, please ask some questions and or I'll just talk. So anyways, what you're gonna see tonight is positive reinforcement in action. And that just means I'm giving Remy something that she wants to increase a behavior. Remy really likes food. She really likes praise, and she really likes playing with toys. But I'm going to primarily be using food tonight to reward her, to help increase that behavior that she's doing. Another thing you're going to observe is me using marker training. So that marker training is just a way to tell the dog they've done the exact behavior I want, and to do it again because they get a treat for it. So I'm going to use a specific word. I'm going to use yes. Sometimes oftentimes I'll use a clicker in place of yes, just because it cuts through the air really well, and it works really well for training new behaviors. However, I'm not going to use it on Zoom because I found in the past that people often can't hear the marker, the clicker box on Zoom. And so I'm just going to use my verbal mark yes. So you'll hear me say yes, and that just tells Remy that she's done the right behavior, and she gets a treat reward for that. Let's see. Okay. That's the basics. So tonight I want to show you a few things. We'll see if we get to everything. But one of the first things I would like to go over is how we get some of our behaviors. And there are some behaviors in the past where I've not been so excited to train just because they're not as fun as like retrievals or holding items in the mouth for cute pictures, stuff that I like as a human. But there are other important behaviors that our clients use, and a lot of them deal with positioning cues. So our positions are side, tells the dog to go on the right side, heel, which tells the dog to move to the left side of the person. And then we have front, which is exactly what it sounds like. Dog moves to the front of the person, nose facing the person. And then we have follow, which tells the dog to go behind the person or the wheelchair. So we have four different positions. So a client doesn't have to physically try to move or stretch their arms to try to get the dog into place, or even physically move them. They can just cue the dog with a verbal cue, follow, or heel or side, and get the dog to move that way into position. So it makes it very easy for clients. But in pet dog world, I love using it all the time too. So I hope you guys, if you have pet dogs or if you have service dogs or whatever you're training, you could do this with cats, so sure. But anyways, it's all the same. Just find something that motivates them, and I'll kind of talk you through the ways of getting some of these behaviors. So, all right. So right now, have some props I'm going to introduce to you. And I have platforms. So I have one platform here, and then I have a bunch more. I have so many platforms because I've really have learned to love the use of platforms. And this one kind of has some texture to it. This one is just not as thick as this one. I mean, it's like platform Christmas over here. So anyways, so remember back when I said there's not some behaviors that I just get so excited to train. Well, I went to a Michelle Pouliot seminar, and she basically introduced me to platforms and made training some things that I didn't love training way more fun, because she's just like, think of it as tricks. Think of any behavior. If there's any behavior you don't like to train, or you should train, but it's not your favorite, okay, change your mindset. Here's what I did. I just changed my mindset, and I'm like, okay, I'm just training another trick. And the behavior I'm referring to is follow. So that's when the dog goes behind a person or behind the wheelchair. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't my favorite to train. And also it seemed always kind of vague to the dog. Like sometimes they seem confused, like, should I kind of go to the side a little bit, or but we really want them right behind the person or the chair the person is using. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I got over that hump and actually why I really enjoy training follow now. And let's see, also with the use of platforms, sometimes to train positional skills or cues, I don't use platforms. Sometimes we'll just use luring. So those are two ways I'm going to show you how to get just different positional cues tonight. And let's see. Oh, Remy's being adorable. Look at this dog. Okay, she just stole the show, I think. All right. Okay. So anyway, that is not a cute behavior. That's just cute. It's been reinforced by giggling at her. And she knows that because everybody adores when she rolls like that. Okay, so we have a platform here. I'm gonna try to not look like my head's cut off. There we go. Don't mind this. All right, just scooch it over a bit. Okay, so platform. So the idea is for this one, eventually I need my ultimate goal in mind. And my ultimate goal is for me to be standing like this, and the dog goes behind me and stands square. Okay, so that's what I'm going for. And in order to get that, I need to kind of show the dog where I want them to be in space. And if I just kind of lured it, I could do that, but it's hard. I feel like it's too vague for the dog to know exactly where to go. That's where the platform comes in. So this platform happens to be raised off the ground a little bit. Some trainers will use them for training stays, stand stays, or even just call it place or bed or something like that. So anyways, they can be used for a lot of different things, but I'm going to be using the platform for positioning. And this platform, here, I'm going to move her off using a hand target. This platform is nice because it has some good traction on it, and it's a little bit raised, so it really is just different from my regular rubber flooring that I have here, and just makes a defined space where I can teach the dog exactly where I want them to go. Okay, so how I start this, and I will say Remy has learned this. This is one of the foundation behaviors I teach once they get into advanced training. And some of our puppy raisers train it, and some of our guys in our prison program train it. But anyways, it's a foundation behavior for learning positional cues. So I'm just going to start by seeing if the dog is even comfortable going on a platform. And I might do that. I have a bunch of treats in my hand, so I'm just luring her up. And I want to make sure the dog's comfortable. Otherwise, they won't want to go on it, and we have a problem. Okay, then I'm gonna use a treat lure to just lure her off. And I'm gonna get some more treats. And I'm just gonna reverse and lure her on. And now I'm just we call this pezzing, where you just release one treat at a time. And I'm just gonna give it to her here for coming on. Okay. And I'm going to go through these steps really fast, just so you guys can all see the progression of things. But you know, she might do really well or she might not. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna move that up a bit. Okay. So once I have a dog that I see is getting more comfortable with going onto the platform, I'm going to start just marking and maybe shaping the dog. You could do a little bit of luring. You could do a little bit of shaping, yes. And marking when I get 4 feet on. Now, getting 4 feet on can be very tricky. So if you have a platform that is too narrow for the dog, you will not get 4 feet on. That's why I have all sorts of different sizes of platforms, because and all with traction on them. You don't want them slipping around. But if the platform is too narrow for the dog's stance, then it will be very hard to teach them to get 4 feet onto something. So I like this platform I have for Remy because it works for adult Labradors pretty well. But that is something to consider. Can the dog physically get all 4 feet up on the platform you're asking them to do? This one I know she can, so she's a little crooked right now, so that's up to me to place my treats away in order to set her up for the most success. Yes, I'm gonna reward that. she knew she was waiting for that mark. Yes. And she didn't hear it, so she tried something different. So that's the joy of marker training, is once the dogs learn that, they'll try different behaviors until they kind of get the right one. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna use a bowl. I'm gonna put a bowl back behind the platform here. I think that's far enough. And I'm hoping she'll just eat the treat and come on up to the platform. She moved it around a little bit. Yes. And that went perfectly. So I'm going to feed her maybe like 3 treats on the platform. And then I'm going to take 1 treat, lure her off, put it in the bowl. And yes, and just mark when she walks back on. Very nice. Lure her off, put it in the bowl. Yes. Good job. Good job. So we call this loopy training. Yes. Where the dog does the behavior, receives the food, and then I set the dog up in a way that where they just do the behavior right away again. So I was talking, so I didn't mark, but again, this isn't new to her, so it's going relatively smoothly. It doesn't always go this smoothly. It's okay. Just try what works best for your dog. Sometimes you have to adjust where your bowl is behind the dog. Or you might have to just do a little bit of luring some more. Okay, so she's starting to understand. Well, she understands to put 4 feet on her platform. So this time I want to start changing where my body is in space. Because again, remember, I want this, the look of this, the dog directly behind me squared up. So with that, I'm currently, when I first start training this, and everybody, right, we are standing facing forward, and this would be like front position. And I'm crowding her space a little bit more. Yes. And that helped her get all of her 4 feet on. So anyways, body pressure, they care about that. So now I'm going to start changing where my body is relative to the dog. So I'm going to bring my bowl back out, reset her. And instead of I'm just going to turn my body slightly to the side. Yes. Good. Reward her on the platform. And then I'm going to take 1 treat and I call that the reset treat. Change my body a little bit more. Yes. This is great actually training on Zoom, because I can see, I don't have to look directly at her. I can see on my screen if she has 4 feet on. Yes. So what if I didn't have Zoom? I have to show you, I'll show you all at some point what I do when I don't have Zoom to see if the dog has 4 feet on, because now I'm starting to, yes, turn away. And I might not be able to see where her feet are, like 1 foot might be popped off or not. It's not. Good job. Now I've rotated my body, yes, all the way around. Good. And I will try to treat with both hands, and that will kind of keep her squared. I've also in the past, some dogs do well if you treat between your legs and back. So that is an option too. All right, she's doing great. Here we go. Moving right along, reset treat. Let's see. Excellent. Good girl. All right, so I'm gonna start moving the treat bowl. So this would be our next step, because the dog isn't always going to come directly behind the handler. Usually the dog will be in heel or side position, like this position, right? And we want them just to go straight back and onto the platform. So I can see she just has 2 front feet off. So not quite where I want her. I might change. Yes. So she really cares about body pressure. That just told me. I moved my body a little bit ahead, and that allowed those back legs to come on. Good job, girlfriend. Okay, I'm going to lure her off into a different position. And let's see if she goes back to that follow position. And if she doesn't, I'm going to help her out a little bit by either luring her or just doing a little finger point to see if that helps. I don't want to stick having to do with that, because ultimately I just want a verbal cue, follow, but you know, we have to get the behavior first. Good job. There you go. Lure her off. So she was stuck a little bit there. I might have changed my angle too fast. We'll see. Yes. Nice, Remy. Good job. What a good girl. All right. Lure her off. I'll bring her a little bit farther front. Let's see if she can stick her position. Yeah, good job. Nice. All right. So at this point, if my dog is doing pretty well, we're kind of doing like around the clock right now, right? I'm luring her to different positions relative to my body to see if she can really find that back position. Let's see here. Yes. Good girl. Nice. Good job. All right. And how about if you're on this side? We find that platform. Yeah, that's it. Boy, dropped a treat. There you go. Okay, so I have a dog, no matter kind of where she's standing right now, that I care about, that I think the client's going to be using the most, she will go back and get 4 feet on that platform. That's when I'm going to start adding the cue now. So here we go. I might bring her even back to the easy position, where she just is straight back and walking straight on. I'm gonna do my reset treat, follow. Yes. So I'm inserting my cue right before I know she's gonna be doing that behavior. Doing my reset kibble, putting myself, follow. Yes. Good job. Good job. Okay. Reset kibble, the bowl, little to the side, get myself in position, follow. Yes. Good. Good girl. What, I fed her a little back. Man, I love training on Zoom. I don't know if you all are out there, but this is great, actually. Okay, so now I'm going to try this position. You know, I'm just going to start mixing it up and seeing if there are any holes in the training here, or what she thinks she's supposed to do. So I'm going to ask her, follow. Yes, good. Nice. Good job, Ren. Good job. All right. And transport lure off. And a transport lure, I think I mentioned it, but I just have a kibble in my hand. I stick it right at their nose and lure them around. So that's one skill. That's a big skill. And sometimes I've learned not as easy to teach as those of us, who've done training a while, it seems so easy, but really keeping that kibble right at the dog's nose is key. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so next step is to incorporate, I mean, there's lots of next steps, but I would say not, the vast majority of our clients won't be standing. They'll be using a chair. So now I need to generalize her follow cue from me standing to the look of me sitting. And then I'd need to generalize it to a bunch of chairs. And then also the other element I was thinking about that sometimes when I'm training in my home, I forget to do is put on a leash. And that can definitely change things for the dog. Good girl, you're doing so well. I'm gonna load up. I've been giving her a lot of treats. You want some water? You just care about food. Good job. I'm just using her kibble because I knew she would be getting a lot of food tonight. So she already got some dinner just so she would get some dinner from a bowl. But anyway, so now we're changing the picture a lot. So just to be fair to her, I went from standing, right? Oh, she's getting there, but a little confused because it looks so different, right? I was standing and now I have this chair in front of her, and we saw earlier she was a little bit sensitive to the pressure of my body, right? If I was standing too close to the platform, she didn't want to put all of her self back on. So to help her, I might just start back here. So the picture I'm slowly trying to slowly introduce-ish a different picture to her, but I want her to know, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great, dog. All right. I'm gonna lure her off, transport treat. I'm just gonna stand here. Yes, good girl. Nice. Good. All right. The other thing, I'm going to give her a little break. She's starting to slow down. The other thing I wanted to show you is training with mirrors. Let's see there. I have a mirror right there. So I can see, oh, sorry, this is going to get crazy, L. But I have a mirror right there so I can see when Remy or the dog I'm training has all 4 feet on. So I can see behind me. Kind of important to know when to mark. So, okay, here we go. Good job, Remy. All right, so I might do this. I'm going to stand in front of the chair and let's see if it confuses her or if she'll find her spot. And if she's a little confused, I might just point. Yes, good job. Actually, I'm going to feed you back here. Good. It was better to have a plan in my head before I started this. Good job, free. Nice. Okay, and I'm still standing, trying to keep that picture still not drastically changed. Yes. Good. She popped off. And I couldn't even try my verbal cue, follow, to see if that helps her out. Yes. A little confused. That's okay. I'm just still going to reward her back here. Good job. Follow. Follow. Almost. I'm going to reward you. This is a lot. So I'm not surprised if it gets a little wacky as far as the training goes. But notice I relaxed my criteria. Free. All done. Here. Have a food scatter. I relaxed my criteria quite a bit at the end there because I know we've just done several repetitions of this. But anyways, that's probably as much as you all want to see, maybe 2. So that is one way to get a position. Another way, she's drinking, is to do luring. So you saw some luring. I could use the chair or I could use my hand. So again, luring is where you have the, you can use food, you can use a toy, or you could even use like a pointing finger. So I have no food in my hand, but Remy has learned to follow a pointing finger and a hand target. Yes. So all those are foundational cues. If you want more information, let us know, or come to a puppy raiser class, plug. So I'm gonna lure her, say I wanted a side position. So side is having the dog come from any other direction and come up to the right side of the person. So to start that, to get the behavior, I might choose, instead of platforms, I could easily put a platform right beside me and do the exact same thing. I could have 4 platforms surrounding me. People certainly do that. So there's lots of ways to get behaviors, but this one usually comes along pretty well with the lure. So I'm going to lure her out of position, give her that one, and then lure her into this position, right where I want her, at my side. There we go. Good job. Yeah, that's so good. All right, let's give you a little break and see if anybody has. Lynn, are there any questions relevant to that?
We don't have questions just yet, but if people want to type in some questions, I can ask you a question to start. What qualities make the best service dogs?
Oh, qualities?
Yeah.
So for our program and most service dog programs, because we use a lot of people and transitions, and because of the tasking that we need the dog to do, qualities would include social ability. So a dog who can transition pretty well between people and enjoys being around people. Having a dog who's food motivated is great, because as you see, we train with a lot of food as a reward for the dog. And also size does matter depending on what you're training the dog for. So if you're training like some hearing alert behavior, maybe the dog could be any size. But in mobility assistance, we kind of want some larger dogs to be able to reach light switches and be able to be strong enough to tug open heavy doors. So anyways, social ability, size matters. Kind of a calm, cool, collected temperament that's a dog who's able also to handle a lot of different kind of environments and doesn't necessarily react to stress in big ways or get big feelings from potentially stressful situations. Because, you know, some dogs would get stressed over, who knows, like anything. But because service dogs, ones that pass, they go to so many different environments. It's really important that those dogs feel comfortable in all sorts of different environments. And different environments, especially changing environments, can be very stressful for a lot of dogs. And so everybody, you know, like every person, every dog handles stress a little differently. And we want to see, you know, does the dog's base temperament, how do they handle stress? Or, you know, what stresses them out? Or do a lot of things stress them out or not very much? So that's just like some people, right? Some people get stressed about a lot. And then some people just sort of kind of go with the flow of whatever. So we want the go with the flow dogs. That's a good kind of trait that would be a good service dog quality, I'd say. So yeah. All right. That was great because Remy, oh, she splatted on the floor. She needed a little break. She's probably recharged by now. So, okay. So, oh, the next thing I wanted to show you all is how we start back. So the back behavior, I also use a platform in a way, but I use it a little differently. I use it as a way to have the dog target their back feet to it. So most dogs are very used to putting their front feet up on things, especially in our program. But in general, a lot of dogs are kind of motored in the front and their behind just does whatever the front does. And I can't imagine what it's like to have 4 feet, right? And have to be aware of like functioning my back feet along with my front feet. I don't know, this could go down a rabbit hole, but anyway, so a lot of dogs won't really realize that we want them to target with their back feet. But it is a really, really great skill to have a dog know how to do and be aware of moving their back end. And one reason is for training a back behavior where the dog might be in front and they go straight backwards. So that's what I'm going to show you the foundations of for how I train a back behavior. All right. So just like with the use of positioning platforms, I'll use a whole, sorry, buddy, a bunch of different things, whatever the dog is most comfortable with. I'll use a bunch of things for rear end targeting, we'll call it, to train the back. This just happens to be what Remy was most comfortable with and did the best with. It's just wood. And what it actually is, I had to be clever. I don't know where the bottle feeder is, but if any of you have ever seen those bottle feeders with the dowel that goes across and the spinny bottles that you put kibble in and the dog hits it and the kibble comes out, that's what this is. I just took the dowel and the kibble out for the board, for the board's sake. So it's nothing, I mean, it's just something I made a long while back that Remy just happened to like for targeting. Other things you can use, you could use a folded up towel. This is just a piece of plastic sheet, and I've added like sandpaper traction, step traction to it, just to make it feel different. Anything that kind of feels different from and is slightly raised from the ground you'll be training on. So this ground is rubber. So I just want it to be slightly raised again and feel different from the rubber, so she can feel the difference between here and here. Okay, so let's see if I can get this lined up a little better so you can see her. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use what she's comfortable with. The next thing I need to do is make sure it's not going to slide around. This one's pretty stable, also why I like it. Although it'll be a little bit harder maybe for you all to see. I'll tilt it there. And then, yeah. So you could use something like this as well, you know. All right, to start this behavior, you're just gonna do exactly, I mean, I love luring. So I'm gonna lure just to kind of kickstart the behavior. And again, I wanna just see the dog's comfort level. So I'm gonna feed her a bunch just like I did on that platform, just for having her back legs on here. And again, she's familiar with this, so this is going relatively easy for her. Some dogs will stretch, like to avoid actually putting their back legs on it. And if that goes on for a long time, just find something softer that the dog actually will be okay and comfortable stepping on. Okay. So I'm just going to treat her just like the platform, just several treats. Whew, my hands are getting droppy with the treats. Okay. And then let's see, I'm going to use Red Bull. Use my bowl again. And I'm going to try to set up a loopy training scenario here where I reward her for rocking backwards. All right, so say we have a dog now who's comfortable putting their back feet on. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to figure this out so you all can see the best. Yes, there we go. Treating her. Okay, now here's where my little shaping might start. Instead of luring necessarily, yes. So what I'm going to do is, yes, mark when she rocks back. Yes, after eating the treat. Yes. And I have food, yes, ready in my hand because this happens, it can happen fast or sometimes not at all. But usually when the dog's head comes up from eating the treat, they rock back just because they have to. So I'm standing as close as I need to for her head to rock, for her bottom to rock back to hit that board. And then what I'll start to do is pull my food bowl out a little farther each time and see, yes, if she's picking up on what I'm trying to tell her, which is find the board with your back feet. Yes. Yes. And lucky she knows this because I've been talking and not marking. Yes. Yes, and again, this is going to go a lot faster because she understands this, but this is like several sessions worth, right? Don't expect it to all happen with your dogs the first go. I mean, it might, which is great if they're, especially if they're savvy about moving their body around and getting shaped. But oftentimes you gotta just mark the tiny little movement back. The head, they might even still be on the board when they go to rock back. And you're just marking the shift movement back. Watch out for sitting, because sometimes that happens. If the dog goes into a sit and is confused, like, oh, you want me to just sit backwards, just do a reset treat. Take your treat, lure them around again, give them a few treats just for standing still. And then also make sure you're not treating high, because when you treat high or lure high, their butt drops. So also why I just like treating into a bowl, because it keeps their head neutral or lowered, which again causes their butt to stay up. Good job. Okay, I'm gonna scoot the bowl back a little bit so she has to go a little further. Hopefully I didn't break her, because I haven't been paying good attention to exactly what she's been doing while I'm talking. Yes.
Lindy, we have a question.
Okay.
What is back training? What is that good for?
Oh,
Back.
that's such a good question. Thank you for asking. So a lot of times I'm going to give her a break. Good job. Well done. Ooh, I'm going to remove the prop. Remy's like, yay, get a break. So a lot of times, if you think about going through just a regular doorway in your house, if our clients are using a wheelchair, a manual or a power chair, they take up a lot of space. And so oftentimes a dog, if they're in heel or side position or right next to the handler, it'd be really hard to fit a dog and a chair without getting squishing the dog. So we use clients, and I use back a lot around my house. Use back to just fit dogs into tighter spaces a lot of times. So we might, even sticking with the door example, I might send the dog out in front of me using, we call it go through, or you could use a front, and then have the dog back up while the client is rolling into them. So maybe I can set up an example here. So Remy, let's see, I'll reverse. Here's a doorway. All right. Here I am. Okay. So I'm squished. Remy would be squished. I think she can make it through because she's kind of, she pretend this is a doorway and we both don't fit, and I need to move in through the doorway. So I'm going to say, Remy, back. Yes, good job. And that's one example of how I might use it. It's also just really convenient for moving through tight spaces. So I hope that cleared up like one way of using it. We also might use it down in say like I don't know, an aisle of a grocery store. So the dog also can learn to back going as they're parallel to the handler too. So it's not always in front and going backwards. It can be just, oh, I need to reverse my chair so I don't have to turn all the way around. Oh, the cereal or granola is right behind me. Yes, it's always food with me. So, and I don't want to turn my chair all the way around. So I might just use a back as the easiest form of getting to where I need to go. So think of the dog as an extension of the person in a way. And so we kind of want the dog to learn to move with the person in whatever direction they're going. And back is one of those behaviors that helps with that. So hopefully that was helpful. Let's see here. I want to show you all, I think I'm done with back unless anybody wants to see a little bit more of that. I'll leave 2 seconds to answer Anybody wants to see progression of back. Eventually, you could have your dog rear end target as far back as you wanted, like just for a fancy trick or whatever. They could back all the way across the room. You're just going to kind of ping pong back and forth how close your food bowl is, your reset food bowl is to the targeting platform. And then also, of course, you fade out the platform eventually. So what the deal is with the target platform is you're just getting the behavior. Again, we just need to get the behavior of backing. And there's lots of different ways you can also do that without rear end targeting. I just find it helpful because it creates a dog who backs up kind of equally with both feet. Sometimes when you train back by just putting pressure into them, like walking into them, if you try that with your dogs, oftentimes they'll back up 1 or 2 steps, but then they'll start to curl their bum to the one side or the other. With this form of training, the rear end targeting training, they'll usually back up several steps back in a straight line. So say the client wanted their dog to back up into a movie theater aisle that's really narrow and tight, right? And they needed precision. If they align themselves correctly, then they should be able to just say back and the dog will back themselves into a tight space. Trusting the owner, is line them up to just move backwards in a straight line. So, okay. Last, any questions on that? No. Okay. Okay, we're getting to the, oh, sorry.
No questions just yet, so.
All right. The last bit I want to show you is something we don't train that often anymore at Summit, but that's kind of been fun for me, is something a little different and something we used to train and some of our clients do still need, and that's hearing alert. So I wanted to show that because, I don't know, it's kind of cool, and maybe I thought people would be interested in that. So a hearing alert is where you train the dog to listen for a specific sound, and they come alert the handler. And sometimes the handler might want to know where the sound is coming from. So you can also train that for the dog to go show you where the sound is coming from. So with Remy, she is learning to do a hearing alert behavior for her future person. And we've been working on her ringtone. And then next we will be working on a fire alarm sound. Or yeah, that might sound a little different than my fire alarm. So I found one on YouTube. But the first step to training, well, there's several steps that you kind of put together in order to train this behavior. And one of them is the alert. And then so the alert you want, what do you want the dog to do when they hear the sound? So Remy's future person wanted a nose nudge to the thigh, or just kind of a general nose nudge to the body if she's laying down. And so that's what we've been working on. Okay, how do you get that? Here we go. So I'm going to move this. Actually, I'm just going to stay in the chair. I think you can see me better there. All right, so our blue tape. I love blue painter's tape. So I use blue painter's tape, and puppy raisers that go to our classes will know that we start training the dogs the foundation behavior of nose targeting either a plastic lid. And once they've done well training the plastic, booping the plastic lid with their nose, then I might have them start with blue painter's tape. And having them nose target blue painter's tape, because it's so easy to fade out. So because nobody wants to go around wearing blue painter's tape, you can make it into smaller and smaller pieces in order to fade it out where you don't need it anymore. So, and it also peels off, it sticks on most everything, and it peels off most everything without leaving damage. So what I'm going to do, Remy has learned to nose target this blue painter's tape. So I just taught her by putting blue painter's tape on where I want her to target me. So let's see here. Do I have enough treats for this? I think she's rested. Oh, she's back. She heard the kibble. She back. Okay. And her puppy raisers did a great job of building the foundation skills for this behavior. So we call it touch. And so I want to line her up and then I'll say touch, yes. And when she goes to hit the painter's tape, I treat. Touch, yes. Touch, yes. It's over here. Touch, yes. So I'm feeding her away in order to set her up to do the behavior again. Touch, yes. Good job. Touch, yes. All right, so I actually I used a cue transfer to change this behavior to what I wanted to cue as alert. So I said, in order to do that, I just said alert, touch, yes. Alert, touch, yes. So of course she knows this, right? And that's why it's going so fast. I'm just doing it for you guys to see the progression. But that's very quickly how you would do that. All right. Alert, yes. And then I start dropping the touch because I'm going to anticipate that she'll do the behavior. Good. Okay, next step, I want a little persistence with it. Like I want to build a little bit more just, oh, one boop. Oh, maybe I want a little like 2 or 3 boops. So I'm going to withhold my mark and see if she goes in for a second boop. Alert. Alert. Yes. Good. Alert. Yes. Alert. Yes. Good. You're the most adorable. Okay, now is the time I'm going to remove the tape. Again, several steps down the road. Alert. Let's see if she does it without the tape. Yes, good. Alert. Yes. Okay, so we're getting a really good nose nudge to my thigh. Exactly what I want. Persistent. It's like you can't mistake it for anything else, right? Sometimes dogs nose nudge you and you're like, whatever. But hers is pretty, I want that persistent, like, hey, 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 kind of like somebody tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, 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 something's going on, right? Okay, so now I want to generalize that nose nudge to no matter the position I'm in, because it could be happening in the middle of the night, right? A fire alarm goes off in the middle of the night. With the first noise that I kind of have trained her is her person's ringtone. So, and that can go off in the night when her person might not hear these noises and stuff and sounds. So anyways, I'm going to try laying on the couch, and because that's a complete change from sitting. I want to see actually if I'm standing. Alert. And with my hand in the way, will she do it? Alert. Yes. Okay, good. So we have that. I could even do, what if I'm holding something else in my hand? Alert. And that's 2 competing cues, right? She's used to targeting that. Alert. She's a little confused. I have to admit, I didn't even think of that. Alert. Yes. So it helped set her up by putting her on the right side so she could be successful. Now, what if I'm laying down? Alert. Yes. Good job. Very good. Very good. Okay, next step. I have a well-generalized nose nudge alert to my thigh. And now I just want to start associating the sound with my nose nudge. So this one, I just did a cue transfer, meaning you'll exactly what you kind of saw earlier with the touch alert behavior. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with the sound. So I'm going to play the sound, which is the new cue to the dog to nose nudge me. And I don't know how many repetitions. It didn't take that long because she's very savvy on these cue transfers that I've been doing. So I'm going to play the sound and then I'm going to say alert and she's going to do the behavior. And I'm just going to repeat that. Play the sound, let it play for a second or two, say alert, and she's going to do the behavior. And then at some point, I'm going to drop saying alert altogether and see. That's when you want to see if the dog has picked up the association. We just want them to build the association of hearing that sound and alerting on you. So let's see here. Put a little bit of delay on here. Alert. Yes. Good. Alert. Yes. She's faster than I can. I'm going to put her treats on the ground so I can get, she's alert. Yes. I hope you guys can hear the sound coming off my phone. Otherwise, this won't make much sense. Put a treat on the ground. Alert. Yes. All right. So we have a dog that now has built the, so I've done that over and over, where I just play the sound, I say alert, she does the behavior or reward over and over and over. I don't know, 10 times. This dog is smart. I think that's smart to pick it up that fast. Anyways, and some dogs might take longer and some dogs might take shorter. It just depends on the dog and how much learning history they have again. And with this kind of training and stuff. So, okay. Now we want to see if Remy will just alert on the sound. We'll see. She is now laying down. I'm going to wait a bit. I'm going to say nothing. Yes. Good job, Remy. There we go. And there is our response to our sound. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to put it, this is like so fun. So I put a little bit of delay on this sound that I have on my phone, the ringtone, that's going to be her person's ringtone. And that helps me get in place before the ringtone starts. So here I go. Got to get a little more treats. Kibble. I love you work for kibble. Usually when I first started training this, I actually use a much higher value food because this is like a very important skill for the client, right? That they do it, so that the dog follows through with it. So this dog has had a good reinforcement history with not just kibble with this behavior. I've used like string cheese or what else? Baby food, lamb lung, dehydrated liver treats. So I bust out all the yummy, super yummy stuff for this behavior. Okay, so I'm going to put Remy, let's see, up here in a down. And, you know, I put her in a cued behavior. So we'll see if she'll break the behavior to do this alert. And in this case, I do want her to break the behavior to come alert me when she hears that sound. Okay, show me. Show me. Yes. Good job. Good job. All right. That was super. Good job. Good job. Okay. So there we have it.
We have a couple questions too.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I think we're getting, I'll give.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Great. Thank you. Yes, we have just a couple questions. So will Remy be a mobility dog and a hearing alert dog?
Good question. Yes, she will. Yep. So her, yes, I don't want to get into the specifics of the, her person, but yeah, her person, sometimes stands, sometimes uses a chair, and also, would like hearing alert behaviors. Yep. So Remy is a very, energetic girl. And so we thought, the more tasking the happier this dog would be, and the more mental energy she will use up. So I think this is going to be a really nice match because Remy gets to use her smarts and for multiple tasking needs. Yeah.
Okay. And at what age or stage do you pair dogs with their future people and then customize training?
Yeah. Usually dogs are paired between like they go through team training around 2. Sometimes not unusually for us, for our program, sometimes over 2 years old, like 2.5 or so. And sometimes a little older. It just depends on when we kind of get them into advanced training and how much tasking the dog needs for the future person once we've figured out the pair. Um, as far as like when we make the match, that usually happens, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months into having the dog, probably about 3 months, 2 months. It just depends. Having the dog in advanced training. So once they hit, like I do advanced training. So once they hit me in particular, I take them through some stress testing, and that's just to see how they handle stress, like I was talking about earlier, and that they can handle public life and be comfortable in all sorts of situations and stuff. And then, I say around 3 months because it takes, once a dog transitions to a new person, it takes a while for that dog to show their true selves. So our motto is kind of like when a dog transitions, it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. And usually by 3 months, you know who the dog is. You're starting to get an idea of their true personality, what their needs are, and just kind of who they are. So I like to wait about at least 3 months to get to know the dog. And then as far as the matching goes, then we kind of look down our wait list of clients and we see, once we have the idea of what the dog's personality is and what kind of energy needs they have that need to be met daily or weekly, then we start looking at clients who could meet those dogs' needs and kind of match up with that dog's personality. And then we start pulling those clients and doing matching assessments, one-on-one matching assessments between that potential waitlister and the dog. And we kind of see how they mesh and what their lifestyle is like. And we want to make sure that that dog can meet all the needs of the person too. So that's in a nutshell kind of how that process works a bit. So
Great. And we have one more question. Are all the dogs trained for public access?
So the majority of our dogs have been in the past. For mobility assistance, we do want public access dogs. However, we are starting to take clients who would like skilled home companions. So dogs who might not be completely comfortable out in public and we know wouldn't pass a public access test, which involves some stressors and stuff. So if we have a dog like that, but who really likes to work and train and do stuff around the house, then we might try to find a client who would like a skilled home companion kind of dog. So that dog would know tasking, like maybe tugging off clothing, maybe tugging open some doors in the house, just doing tasks, pushing drawers or doors closed. So the dog in those cases could still be super helpful, but they just wouldn't have like a service dog cape and be public access ready. And then we are looking for clients who want like therapy dogs or facility dogs. And each of those are a little bit different. So anyways, we are opening up a little bit to different placements because we have some great dogs, even dogs we place as pets. They're wonderful dogs. And so we kind of want to place them where we think they'll be happiest too. Some dogs would just be happiest being a pet dog, and some dogs really are great about being service dogs and really enjoy going everywhere with their people and doing these tasks because they get paid for it. So anyways, we try to do what kind of makes the dog happiest and living their best life.
Well, thank you so much, Lindy, and thank you everyone for joining us.